In today's episode, I will show you that showing up as yourself can become a powerful message of hope for others.
Hey, this is Stef, and welcome to the Together Moving Forward podcast.
A podcast helping 2S LGBTQI plus people embrace self love and self respect so you can celebrate yourself with pride. In this episode, you'll discover why LGBTQ plus visibility is still important and how authentic representation can change lives. How self love helped me move from hiding my identity to celebrating who I am with pride. Why sharing your journey can create belonging and inspire others to embrace their own story. Today's conversation is about discovering how embracing your identity and showing up as yourself can become a powerful message of hope for others. Hello again, I'm Stef and I'm a human being. Welcome back to the Together Moving Forward podcast. Embrace the 2S LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self-love. No matter where you stand in the 2S LGBTQI plus spectrum, we are all connected. And if you ever struggle to fully love and respect yourself, you're not alone. And this podcast is here to help you. As someone who has navigated my own journey of self acceptance as a queer, I know the power of hearing voices that reflect our experiences. In this podcast, you'll hear real stories and conversations that leave you with practical tools, fresh perspectives, and the confidence to embrace who you are with pride. To start, I need to say that I'm not a psychologist, a specialist, or someone with a college degree. I'm just a regular guy here to share with all of you and support each other. I will share my journey, and we will all share journeys together. We'll learn from each other how to move forward. Before I share this story with you, I want to talk a little about my experience at the Gay Games in Valencia a few weeks ago. Because the Gay Games are so much more than a competition. Of course, there are athletes, there are performances, there are medals. And yes, we all want to do our best. But the heart of the Gay Games has always been about something much bigger: friendship, belonging, community. It is about reconnecting with old friends you may not have seen for years and somehow feeling like no time has passed. It is about meeting new people from around the world and creating connections that sometimes happen in just a few minutes because there's already this beautiful understanding between us. It is about walking into a space and feeling, I belong here. For many of us in the LGBTQ plus community, that feeling has not always been easy to find. Many of us know what it feels like to hide parts of ourselves, to wonder if we will be accepted, to question if we are truly welcome somewhere. And that is why events like the Gay Games matter so much. Because for a moment, thousands of people from our beautiful community come together, not only to compete, but to celebrate who we are. And standing there in Valencia, surrounded by so much love, diversity, courage, and authenticity, I felt incredibly proud once again. Proud to be a part of this amazing LGBTQ plus community. Proud of how far we have come. Proud of every single person who showed up exactly as themselves. And during that beautiful week, something happened to me that I was not expecting. Something very special. Yes, people came to congratulate me for my skating, for my performances, and for my medals. And of course, that meant a lot to me. After being away from competitive skating for so many years, stepping back onto the ice and reconnecting with this part of myself was already an incredibly emotional journey. But the moments that stayed with me the most were not about the results. They were not about standing on the podium. They were about something much deeper. Several people came to me during the competition and said, "Thank you for bringing your husband and your son here." At first, I was touched, but I also had to think about it for a moment. Because for me, they were my family, my husband, my son, my home, the people I love. They were there supporting someone they love, cheering, laughing, taking pictures, creating memories together. But then I realized something important. For some people watching, it represented much more than that. It represented possibility, it represented hope, it represented a future they maybe never saw when they were younger. And it reminded me why LGBTQ plus visibility still matters. Because sometimes we think visibility means standing on a stage, holding a microphone, sharing a big message, or doing something extraordinary. But sometimes visibility is simply living, existing, holding your partner's hands, showing up as a family, being yourself without apologizing, taking your place in the world. And that can be so powerful. During the competition, one of the organizers came to speak with me. She told me how much it meant to see my husband and our son there with me. Then she shared something very personal. She told me about her wife and their marriage. And she explained that even today in 2026, they still experience homophobia at work when people discover they are married. That really stayed with me because sometimes we hear people say, why do we still need pride? Why do LGBTQ plus people still need visibility? Why do we still talk about this? Well, this is why. Because there are still people who are afraid to talk about the person they love. There are still people changing words in conversations to protect themselves. There are still people wondering if they are safe enough to simply say, my husband, my wife, my partner, my family. And I understand that feeling because for many years, I was that person. The younger version of myself could never have imagined this moment in Valencia. The little Steph who was hiding, the teenager who felt ashamed, the young adult who was trying so hard to become someone else. He would never have believed that one day he would stand there at an international competition as a proud queer man with his husband and his son cheering in the stands. Not hiding, not pretending, not trying to prove that he belonged, just living. And that is what made this moment so emotional for me. Because when I looked at them in the stands, I didn't see something political. I didn't see a statement. I saw my family. The family I once thought I would never have. Growing up, I never saw families like mine. I never saw examples of what my future could look like. I didn't know it was possible. I didn't know I could get married, become a father, build a home, create a life surrounded by love. And when you don't see yourself represented anywhere, it becomes very difficult to imagine yourself there. Representation is not about asking for special treatment. It is about reminding people you belong here too, you have a future too, you deserve happiness too. And maybe that is something we sometimes forget. Our healing journey is not only for ourselves. When we learn to love ourselves, when we learn to respect ourselves, when we stop hiding who we are, we create space for others to do the same. Without even realizing it, your story can become someone else's permission to start writing their own. Your courage today can become someone else's hope tomorrow. And I think this is one of the most beautiful parts of our community. For generations, LGBTQ plus people have created path for others. Someone was visible before us. Someone fought before us. Someone opened the door before us. And now we get to do the same for someone else. Not because we are perfect, not because we have everything figured out, but because we are here, because we're survived, because we're still moving forward. Looking back at Valencia, of course, I will remember the competition. I will remember skating. I will remember the medals. But what I remember the most is realizing that one of my biggest victories had nothing to do with standing on a podium. It was standing there as myself, a proud queer man, a husband, a father, living a life that years ago I never thought would be possible. And maybe someone saw us that week and thought, maybe I can have that too. And if one person felt like that, then showing up as exactly as who we are was so worth it. As I look back at my experience at the gay games in Valencia, I realized that the biggest moments were not only about skating, medals, or competition. They were about visibility, connection, and showing up as who we truly are. Because LGBTQ plus visibility is still so important. When we live authentically and allow others to see our stories, we create representation. And sometimes that representation can change someone else's idea of what is possible for their own future. My own journey of self love took me from hiding my identity and wondering where I belonged to standing proudly as a queer man, a husband, and a father. Celebrating my identity with pride became something my younger self never imagined could happen. And that is why sharing our stories matters. Your journey, your courage, and your authenticity can create belonging for someone else without even knowing it. You might inspire another person to embrace their own identity and believe that they deserve happiness too. So keep showing up, keep being proud of who you are, and remember, together, we keep moving forward. I'm always looking for inspiring guests for the podcast, and I would love to have you or someone you know share your journey with pride. The world needs your story. It has the power to change lives, and your voice matters. Reach out and send me an email today. Also, I'm now booking keynote speaking engagements. My talk is From Survival to Self Love: How I Finally Learned to Embrace My LGBTQ Identity with Pride, and how you can too. Details at togethermovingforwardpodcast.com under speaking. It is already time to say au revoir just for now. Join me every Monday for brand new episodes of the Together Moving Forward podcast and learn how to embrace your true LGBTQI plus identity with pride through self love. Wherever you're from in the world, we are all connected. Remember, solidarity beats hate. The more we unite, the stronger we become. Because at the end of the day, we are all equally human and we all deserve the same rights. Before we close with our weekly positive thought, I want to tell you what this one personally means to me, especially for this episode. I deserve to live authentically and freely. For me, these words represent a journey because there was a time in my life where living authentically felt impossible. A time when I was hiding parts of myself, questioning if I would ever truly belong, and wondering if the future I secretly hoped for could ever become my reality. And standing there at the gay games in Valencia with my husband and my son, cheering for me, I realized something very powerful. I was no longer dreaming about that life. I was living it. Not because everything was always easy, not because the journey was perfect, oh no, but because step by step, I learned to accept myself, love myself, and embrace my identity. And that is what pride means to me. It is not only about celebrating who we are, it is also about honoring the journey it took to get there. Our stories matter because somewhere, someone might still be where we once were, wondering if they belong, wondering if they have a future, wondering if they can truly be themselves. And sometimes seeing someone else live authentically is the reminder they need that they can too. So this week, I invite you to carry this thought with you. I deserve to live authentically and freely because your identity matters, your story matters, and you deserve to take your place in this world exactly as you are. Now is the time to put your hand on your heart and repeat after me. Yes, you and me together. This week, positive thoughts. I deserve to live authentically and freely. Yep, I deserve to live authentically and freely. From shame, guilt, silence, and rejection to pride, freedom, healing, and love, together moving forward. Thank you so much for being here with me today and for sharing this journey of growth and love. I truly appreciate you. See you real soon. Ciao. Do you know anyone in the LGBTQ plus community who feels disconnected from their true self, wishing they could embrace their identity with confidence and pride? Share this episode now and help them step into self-love and self-respect so they can truly celebrate who they are with pride, feel empowered, and make a real difference in our community.